Hi everybody, this is Christina at Scrapcraft and Stitchery. I am excited to tell you today that I am going to participate in the July Junk Journal Challenge, and this is a junk journaling challenge, and it's going to run for 23 weekdays in July, so you kind of get the weekend off. If you want to join in, you can do that. And there's 23 prompts, and these were provided this year for the first time by Lee at Lee's Art and Junk Journal Wonderland, and she has provided the prompts for it this year, and she's hosting. So I'm going to put a link in the description box below so you can check that out and go to her channel and see the announcement for this and check it all out. And there's 23 prompts, and this is what they are. And I'm super excited about these prompts, and I'm super excited to be joining in at the beginning of this, and I will post a video every weekday in July starting on Tuesday, July 1st, and I'll make a page according to these prompts. I'm super excited about some of them. Some of them I'm not really sure what I'm going to do yet, so we'll see. It's going to be a great fun adventure for July. And I made an accordion fold journal out of just some packing paper for this challenge. So I'm gonna go over now to my desk behind me and finish it up. It still needs a cover and before I get started, so I will walk you through how I made that, and we'll put a cover on it, and it'll be fun. I'm super excited. I hope that you'll join. Check the description box again for that link to Lee's page where you can get more information from her video that she put out about this, and get your own link to the 23 prompts. Super exciting. Let's go. All right, so this is the journal that I've already made for this, and it is just big enough for the 23 prompts that are part of the challenge. So I'm going to do all of the prompts, and this is an accordion fold, and I just made this out of some packing paper that I had, and I mean basically it was just the first thing I saw when I was like, I'm gonna make a journal, and I saw, oh, I have all this packing paper, let's use that. So that's what I used because I had a lot of it. So basically for an accordion fold, all I did was, this is actually perforated, and so I just tore it along the perforations, and you can see where I didn't tear it perfectly in some places, and I think that adds to kind of some of the charm. And I put the journal together first, and then I did just some really simple and easy I played around with my jelly plate, and I put some paint on here, and it's all kind of in the same colors, and that's how I made it. So I just folded these, and I kind of wanted a long skinny size I decided to go with. So I'm going to do one spread, so this will be day 1, and this will be day 2, and so on and so forth. And I have some ideas for kind of making this all little bit cohesive. So it already has some stenciling and a little bit of paint put on here just for interest, and I did that after I made the journal, and I just glued pages together until it was long enough. And so the way that it's going to work is we'll flip through it this way, going all the way through, and this will be fun. This is a little bit, gives us a little bit of flexibility here. And all the pages are all, I didn't want to have just super plain brown looking at me every time. A lot of this might get covered up for some of these. Some of it might stick around. But I just pulled out the stencils, and I had some fun playing around with putting some paint and some stencils on here. And again, I mean, this is a junk journal, so it's kind of a little bit wrinkly already. It's already a little bit just made out of recycled and upcycled packing paper, and this is what it looks like all the way through. And you'll see, so this will be the back cover, and when we get halfway through July, will come back. So there's 24 pages in this journal, and there's 23 prompts. And on the last page, I have pasted a copy of the prompts so that I have ready access to those. So these are kind of just a little bit of interest, and here I started to collage some papers on there that were just things that were off of my desk. I was gonna do a little bit more, but I think I'm probably going to leave this until I start to do anything else in here. But I can collage and do all kinds of fun things, and this is the last page where I said that I have already put the prompts for the challenge, and they're here ready for me to access them easily. And then we're back to the front cover. So as you can see, before we start, I'm going to put a cover on here today just to give it a little bit more of a finished touch. And I have some ideas for like going through here and making this, as I go through the prompts, keeping it kind of cohesive as one journal. And so I think I'm going to put a tab for each day along each side, so there'll be tabs on both sides, so you'll be able to flip either way to, if you want to see day 12, you can see day 12 by flipping here. If that makes any sense, we'll see how it goes as it goes along. And that's kind of one of the fun things about this, is by the end of July I'll have a whole journal, and I'm super excited to see what it's going to look like and see how my best laid plans come to fruition. One of the other things that I was going to do was do any kind of journaling or writing in kind of the same style. So we'll see how that comes out, just to kind of make it look like it's one book, even though there's like a lot of different prompts going on here. Doing a few things that'll make this kind of seem like it's one thing. I really like this paper. It's got kind of a botanical theme, and I think I'm going to take some of this and use it to cover the front, and it's not too thick, but it'll give it a little bit more, just make it a little more solid. I might tear the edges of this and ink it, and I don't really have any plans to make the cover of this like super anything. I just kind of want to like mark the front and the back cover as the front and the back cover. Let me find my ruler. So I found my quilting ruler, and this I am going to maybe make at 8 inches, and then I need to tear it again. I just kind of want to make a border. I don't want to go all the way to the edges of this, I think. So I'll probably make this at 8 3, maybe, and then I'll leave a little bit at the top and the bottom, 3 1/2. Just a little bit of a border. So I am going to mark on here where I want to tear this. We went up to the lake this weekend, and we came back this morning, and I am feeling a little bit like I am still not quite all together, guys, so bear with me here as I get my week started. Oops, didn't really want that to move. Okay, can put that aside and save it for something else. I am going to tear a strip off of the edge so that all of the edges are torn. And after I cover this, I will show you exactly how I made this in case you're interested in making one like it too. But it's not terribly difficult to do. And I'm going to tear this at 3.5. It's really nice to have this big ruler like this. I will probably save and do more decorating on this later this month. Not right now. Right now, I just kind of want to put a really simple cover on this. And I will leave it. I might do some lettering. I think that's kind of what I'm leaning towards, just giving it a title, simple and easy, and what it is. I might just put, you know, hashtag July Junk Journal Challenge. It's JJJC, hashtag JJJC 2025 is the hashtag for this. So if you're looking for it later, you can find it. Everybody should post their contributions. I think there's a lot of channels participating. And so there's lots of ideas out there for you to get involved with. So I am just going to put that down like that. And it should be pretty cool. And it's got this really kind of almost cream light sage green. And that might be how I put a title on here, just going down or across the bottom. I think I put, oh, I don't know, something on there, right? Okay. If you wanted to do a closure, you could do a closure at this point and attach it underneath here. That would be one way of doing this. Do we want to do any stitching on here? Yeah, let's stitch this. Let's just go around the edges of this and do some stitching, or maybe some decorative stitching. And I actually like this piece better for the cover, for the front cover, because it's got a little more detail on there than this piece. So let's do that. Let me pull out my sewing machine. All right, I am back, and here you see I have done some decorative stitching just along the front and the back here. So I did kind of a front and a back, so they'll be like this, and the stitching will be on the right hand side of both. And I'm thinking I might make these actually into pockets when I attach them. Because I think that might be kind of fun. I usually like to have a pocket in my journals in case I want to tuck little things in there. And so why not have it on the front, since there's not really room in this journal to put it in the back. And I decided while I was sewing that I'm going to call this the July 2025 journal. And because I think this is really going to be, I'm going to do a lot of journaling, I think, in here, and some things, and it'll be kind of a record of where I'm at in this upcoming month. So I'm excited about that. So I'm going to get an inker and ink this. And my brown daughter over there. This should be pretty juicy at this point. I think I just re-inked this. So I'm just gonna ink the edges a little bit make this look worn. I'm not going to do a whole lot more on this. Like I said, I'm probably just going to add a title, and then that will be that. probably can almost get a new daughter here. This one seems to be kind of a little bit falling apart. All right, there is that one. Here is this one. I just did a decorative stitch on my machine down one side, and then I did a straight stitch and did a up and down the other 3 sides for this. I thought that would look kind of fun and give it a little bit of a frame. I wonder if I might have a stamp that I can use to make a title for this. I'm thinking I might have somewhere. I'll have to go look and see if I have some numbers and just the days or the months. I think I have a stamp. I think I might try that for this. So this, I am gonna just do the 3 sides, make a pocket. I'll add a little pocket there. I think this is gonna be nice. It's gonna be fairly simple for a cover for this. So I'll just glue these down. I want to figure out what I'm doing for the title before I glue anything down in case I want to attach it using, I think, yeah, I'm probably going to attach it using brads. So I'm going to wait and not attach this yet. Let me go see what I can find for titles. If I can find stamps, otherwise I'll do some hand lettering. Okay, so I'm back and I have this Stampin' Up set that has a calendar, which I can use, and I think I can put this, if I make this, I can slip this into the pocket and I'll have a calendar where I can keep track of my, check off my days as I go along in July. So I think that'll be kind of fun. Did not find anything that was like a July stamp, so I'm gonna make my own. And I already got this little piece of paper. I think it'll fit on here as it'll fit right onto here, and then I can attach it with some brads that I found, and I think that'll be cute. So test the pen. It always helps to test things out before you go ahead and jump right in. And actually, let's try this with this brown instead of with the black. I have a brown pen. Okay. So I am just going to write this on here, and I'm going to keep this kind of small, honestly. I think. Maybe not. Hold on. Let's use the size of the paper that we have. There we go. So this will be a reminder of what's in here. This will be a record of my July from this year. Because I kind of like to keep my junk journals and my journals, they're kind of a little bit of a scrapbook for me. So I think some of the things I'm going to do in here are going to really reflect like what I've been doing this year so far and where I'm at. And so I like that. I think that'll be good for me. Now I am just going to punch a couple of holes. So now I have to decide where I want them and which brads we're going to use. I have a couple of options. This is one of my personal goals, is to use up some of these items that I've collected and hoarded for years and years and years, because now is the time. Now is the time to use them up. So I'm just gonna, I guess I could go 4 in the corners, but I'm just gonna go, I would use up more of my things. I'm just gonna put one here. And then I'm gonna put one over here in this other corner. And that way I don't have to worry about putting them in the middle. I am just super excited to work in this journal. I am super excited about some of these prompts, and I know that if you watch Lee's video where she introduces the prompts, she says don't overthink the prompts, and I guarantee you I have definitely overthought some of these prompts already. So settle in for that. I just think I really like my junk journaling to have and kind of reflect a deeper meaning and to get something out of it. And I think as I put down layers and stuff, there's always these things that it starts to tell its own story. And I am really looking forward to that as I get really off into the weeds on some of these prompts, like torn edges. I mean, it's not just like, oh, use a belly band. It's very much got a lot of like deeper meaning, and I'm hoping that I can kind of tap into some of that, at least for me. And so I'm really excited about some of these prompts, and some of the prompts I think are just going to be really fun. So you have some ideas for like the first 4 prompts I think are going to be really cool, and there's going to be just all of these different layers to them, and some of them are going to be fairly maybe deep, and some of them are going to be kind of just for fun. And come along and see where this takes us. I'm just really looking forward to this. So that's all I'm going to really do for this, is I'm going to glue this down, and then I'm going to make a little calendar stamp here for July, and I'm going to tuck it into this pocket that I'm making on the front. So as I go along, I can just mark off the days that I've completed. Simple and easy. You saw it here as I figured out what I was doing today. Because like I said, I just came home. I just got home this morning, set up the computer, and I'm like, all right, I'm ready to rock and roll here. And here we are, finishing this journal cover. I fully intend to have tabs, like I said, sticking out of here. Maybe we'll have some things sticking out of the top. I think that this is a very kind of plain and not too terribly interesting to look at right now, but I hope it'll get nice and fat, and things are gonna it'll start to grow and start to tell its story and start to be just kind of a really fun and interesting thing as we put layers and layers and layers of wonderful life in here. And I'm gonna make this one a pocket as well. And this one is kind of a mirror image of the other one, and it's got this pretty little leaf stitching along one side, and this will mark the halfway point when we see this again, guys. Here on the back side, when we start coming back up the other side of July. I am hoping to make a full video, and I want to keep these videos at around 20 minutes for this coming challenge, because I know that a lot of people don't want to really watch me work for like an hour and a half or something on these videos. So I'm going to do some editing and see if I can figure out how to do voiceovers. That'll be another fun thing for me to look forward to in July. Just kind of changing the way that I'm doing my videos. So while I'm doing this video, kind of the long form that I usually do, I do intend to probably change that, and let's see if I can get this stamped on here I was going to use black, but I might just use this. See how it comes out. Right? Alright. Like I said, I just re-inked my stamp pads, so this should come right out. Beautiful. Okay. I'm going to have to figure out how to put dates on here so I know which day is which. I know this is the 1st. And I'm just going to go back in there and write it in there with this brown pen. This is 1, 2, 3. So they look like a 7. Okay. Fun and confusing. That's what we love around here. All right. Just need to cut this. I need to leave a little space. Maybe I'll write July 2025 on the back. I was going to put this on something else, but I think maybe let's go not too crazy right now. Okay? We'll stay simple. We can always add more to anything we want later. So maybe we'll just go on the back. And again, we can write July 2025. Then we'll know. Gotten off, I was just looking for a pair of scissors or a handy dandy ruler so I can finish this. It's a little crooked. I can see now that it's a little crooked. Again, I am so over. Sometimes I'm a perfectionist, but you know what? I am also not a perfectionist, and I think I like non-perfectionist me a little bit more than I like perfectionist me. Is that gonna stick out? Nope. It is not. Calendar. We can put it in there that way and it'll stick out and we'll know it's in there. And that's how I'm gonna leave that for right now, because I like it when things stick out. We have a couple of little test strips where my sewing machine was not doing this decorative stitch as well as I would like, so I have a little bit of extras. Save those for later. Okay, that is a front and a back cover. Super simple, super easy. I like it. And I will show you how I made this journal now, very briefly, just how I put it together. You can start to add some collage or some paint or some stencils to it. I'm not going to show you that, but I will show you how this is basically constructed very quickly, and it's super easy. And let me walk you through that, and then I'm going to be done and say goodbye. Okay, y'all, I'm back, and I was going to show you how I made this packing paper accordion fold journal very briefly. So I have two different kinds of packing paper, and this one is, as you can see, fairly thin, and it just looks like this. And so maybe is what you would want to do is just use this long strip like this. And the one that I used to make my journal was out of this much wider sheet, and it's perforated here. And so I used that. It's also perforated here. So that's how tall my journal is between these two perforations. So I'm going to show you this. And all I did was I tore these like this. And of course this packing paper is, see, and it doesn't, if it tears like this, this is just fine, because that's gonna just add to kind of the charm. And this is where it came to me and it was already ripped, and I'm gonna save this and use it for something else. And I'm gonna tear two of these and combine them, and I think, and you can just go as long as you want with your accordion folds. So I have now two of these smaller sheets. here, and I am going to tear these apart now. I suppose you could just fold them in half. I love using this. It is taking something and saving it from the trash, true junk journal style. You could add different things to this, and I thought about adding some envelopes or something, and you know, I just didn't. So now I have these two very crumply, wrinkly things, and I left mine kind of crinkly, kind of rumply, but then when I added the paint, it really kind of like took a lot of the crumple and this uniqueness out of it. So keep that in mind. And so what I did to make my journal is I just took these sheets and folded it in half to begin with, to make it starts to get easier and easier to work with. All right, just get it to a better size. It's a little bit easier to see now. Okay, and I'm gonna do the same thing to this one too. At this point in time, again, this is just kind of getting things started here. So there you go. And I think I had to do 3 or 2.5 of these to get all of the pages, but I just kind of kept doing this and repeating this process until I had all of the pages so that I could have, I think my journal is 13 going one way and then 12 going the other way, and I've already attached the page to account for the prompt list to account for the extra page. I am super excited to have this challenge because I think it's going to allow me to finish a journal in a month, and so that's kind of exciting for me because I usually over plan things and really think things out and then don't have a very good schedule and I get distracted, and so in that way this is going to be kind of good for me. And then is what I did was I was thinking, oh, I'll make this big, so I folded it this way. And so all I'm doing here is I've taken this where it's open and it's folded on this side and folded it back to here. And it's still very wrinkly, and like I said, I didn't really get a lot of the wrinkles out of mine until I went back and put some stenciling and did some jelly printing on this. And I did this after I had already constructed the whole book, so that might be an easier thing to do at this stage, and I didn't really pay attention when I was doing it. I just folded it out and put it down on my jelly plate and stenciled it and laid it out and kind of had the whole thing stretched out because it's just a long strip of paper. And so you'll see where it kind of continues from one, because this was just stretched out all of the way like this when I was doing this, so you can see that it crosses across several pages, and it doesn't really matter. I think it's gonna make it be a little bit more cohesive as it's one project at the end, if that's what you want. Or you could treat each page separately and you could just not decorate it until you get to that day. I just didn't want to have like super blank pages. And then I went back and folded it down, and so now you can see where I'm getting to the size that my journal actually is. And this is super easy, and the only thing is trying to keep these folds now. And now you're just going to go back and forth and make these folds. And all I did was try to keep them like that so that they're all the same size, and making the folds along there and folding it down and folding it down. This is a pretty forgiving it's pretty forgiving, and you can go back and adjust it later. I certainly did, and I will probably continue to adjust it. I think once I start gluing some of my ephemera and whatnot into it, it's going to become a lot more solid and cohesive, and not really as flexible on where my pages are, but that is just going to be part of the fun of working with this type of journal. Let's hope. I've made some journals similar to this, but I don't think I've ever actually gone into and decorated a whole one. Certainly not of this size, so we shall see if we run into any problems and we have to go back and fix this. I think it's going to be fine. And so now we get to the end here, and that is the last page. It's a little short. So then I just counted, and this will be the front page. Okay, and so we have 1, 2, 3 and a half. So I'm going to take my other sheet and fold it in the same way. So now I have folded this out, and I can come back, and hopefully these are the same width, more or less. And I can now glue these two pieces together by coming back and just gluing this page down to that page in that corner. And then we'll see where we're at, because this page was a little bit bigger, and I'm just going to work that in. So now I'm going to put glue on this page. Flattening this out, and there you go. So now you might have to go back and refold these. Let's see. We'll fold that. I wanted to look at the back side of this. There is going to be an extra bit of a fold there that we haven't made, because that was a little bit longer, and I think that's going to be fine. And we'll just do that. And there you go. You have a front and a back and a little bit of a journal, and it is kind of crunchy and kind of fluffy. And mine, as again, I said when I made mine lays a lot flatter, and you might want to work this a little bit, but mine really kind of laid down flatter once I put some paint and some stenciling in here. But also I think you could work in it like that. And so this would be your front, and you can add your front cover, and you can add some collage pieces. Like I said, I added some I like to have things poking out the side, so I started putting a little bit of collage paper in here. Just randomly, not really anywhere in particular. So if you see, I have put right inside here the challenge prompts. So we have now 1, 2, 3, 4, and this is the page we've just glued together. 5, 6, 7. You'll need to keep going in the same way until you have all of the pages. I did 13 pages in each direction. When you get to this back page, you can keep going through the journal. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, and that is where we glued this together. And this page was bigger than the other one for some reason. I think my folds are not entirely straight. 5, 6, 7, and we're back to the front. So that is a fun little thing. I think it's going to be a great size to work in for this monthly challenge for July. So that's how I made that. I hope that you will make a journal and play along, or just add this to your regular journal that you're already working in and play along with the prompts. Do your favorite ones, do them all. Let me know. Keep in touch. Please like, subscribe, and share to my channel. Hit the notification bell in order to get notifications whenever I post videos. In July, I'm going to start posting every weekday, and I will try to keep on posting on Thursday and Saturdays, where I'm working in my Maximal Mini Journal, which is my inspirations journal, which I just started putting pages into. So I'm going to try and keep up with those videos at the same time, and the modern collage journals that I put out on Saturdays. And I will do my best to keep up with that. Depending on how this goes, I might miss some of those as we go along, but I'm going to try because I'm super excited to work in those journals as well. Thanks for joining me here today. I hope you will come back and watch me fill up this journal and to work with all of these prompts. It's going to be a lot of fun. I'll see you next time. Until then, scrap happily. Bye!